Yes, it's another sensational Sunday. And listeners, each week I add another adjective to the Sunday. I've called it spectacular. I've called it inspirational. I've called it sensational. And believe me, it is all that and more. Now, if you never joined one Sunday before now, believe me, you have chosen the right one, the perfect one. This one, I believe, every listener. So, we're just about to get started. And before we really delve into it, I am going to give you the opportunity to share the link. To tell a friend that you need to listen to Sensational Sunday today because we have an awesome program lined up. We have a guest in studio who is joining us all the way from Canada, and he is joining us with some fantastic inspirational news from a book he has written. So I want to give you the opportunity to tell your friends about this wonderful program and this wonderful discussion we are having on this sensational. I believe that amazing things have happened. And one of the amazing things, it's not always a happy moment, but we pause, and that is the life of Patrick Smith. For those who have any connection to NCU at all, you would have known this gentleman that I met while at NCU. And the moment that we all heard the news, even though we are familiar that death is the end of life, I refuse to call it a part of life, it's the end of it. I we paused and remember someone who was so vibrant and full of life, and an infectious smile. I remember him in my freshman year at NCU, and believe me, I believe at the time he had started the Toastmasters Club there, and he taught freshmen come. And so, condolences not only to his family members and friends, but for those of us who have any connection at all to NCU, we would have also been feeling this pain of this loss. As a matter of fact, yesterday found me visiting a funeral as well. Other loved ones grieving the loss of persons. And so this Sunday, we are going to speak about not only the loss of individuals, but whatever losses you have experienced in life, there is some hope. And we believe that if we learn how to cope, that is half the journey there. And we're going to kick off this afternoon, but I want to start with this wonderful song by the man himself, Louis Armstrong. And I believe it's a favorite of our guests, which I'll tell you more about. My guest, I'll tell you more about him in a little. But Louis Armstrong said it's a wonderful word. And I'm telling you, when he sang this song, I believe he sang it from the depths, the depths of his heart. If you just listen to his voice, he says, I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I say to myself, despite all that's happening around us, What seems like a whirlwind, remember, God created such a wonderful world.
I see trees of green and roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed days, dark sacred nights. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the skies, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
A round of applause and a standing ovation as well for Louis Armstrong. He says, it's a wonderful world, and indeed it is. Now our guest today joins us from Canada. He has 31 years of experience in educational and pastoral ministry. He has lived and worked in 11 countries, and on 3 continents. Wow. He's an ordained pastor. He has served in various departmental positions in different conferences and unions in Canada and in New Zealand as well, including Executive Secretary, President of the Quebec Conference. He speaks fluent English and French. He plays the alto saxophone. I didn't know that. He's a certified life coach, certified grief recovery specialist, marriage counseling facilitator. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Theology, a Master's of Arts in Education in Educational Administration. He's author of an emotional health book, The Will to Heal, which is what we're going to be talking about today. He's married to June Maxi, and Emile and June are proud parents of 2 young adult daughters, Janelle and Nicole Maxi. So our guest this afternoon is Pastor Emile Maxi. And you know, when I decided to invite him on Sensational Sunday, and we had a brief discussion, he said, you know, I'm going to recommend that you read the book. The topic of the book that he has written is called The Will to Heal. And can I tell you, listeners, it was the best decision that I have made. I ended up making so much notes and jottings, and I believe every individual, I'm not just speaking just off the top of my head, no, I believe everyone could benefit from the pages of this phenomenal book. And so we want to welcome you to the studios of Flashpoint Radio. Pastor Emile Maxi, it is awesome. We are totally, wonderfully happy to have you join us today. Welcome to Flashpoint in the Grand Cayman Islands. That's where you are. Welcome. We're happy to have you.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
You know what I found interesting about your book, the topic of it, the will. I I know we want healing. People will spend their life savings, their earnings. They would work all their lives, and the moment they hear that they're unwell, it doesn't matter just to hold on to life and to get healing. So, who doesn't have the will? How did you come up with such a thought provoking topic for this book?
Thank you so much for asking. I have been involved in counseling of all types for the past almost 31 years now. And so I have noticed one thing, and that is most of the times, if not all the times, people who are stuck in life and are unable to move forward, it is because they lack the will, right? And the second is exactly like onto it, the attitude, right? So as a result of that, when I embarked on, let's say, not just marriage counseling, that is premarital counseling and post-marital counseling, and life coach in particular, and then grief recovery, as people go through life and they get hurt as a result of separation, as a result of divorce, as a result of the death of someone, a loved one, or a friend, as a result of disappointment, as a result of loss of health, loss of financial freedom. So they feel stuck. They are unable to move forward. So as I pondered, I said, how can I be of help? So I decided to write in a way to be able to help as many people as possible in the shortest possible time.
But
And I changed the I changed the title multiple times.
yes, because I said, who doesn't have the will? And I agree with you because in my own life experience, I find, and I usually say the desire. I embarked on a journey at my tender age. I wanted to learn to swim. And I wanted to swim because I wanted to stay healthy and I had issues with running. And the solution for me would have been swimming. But I am not a young chicken, although I sound young on the radio, listeners. I know. But to take up something like that, it seemed almost impossible. But believe me, Pastor, I had the will. That will led me to spend many hours, many days going to the beach, paddling, invested in DVDs, listening to CDs, the will. And 2 years after that journey started, I found myself swimming.
Wonderful.
Just from the will. So I totally agree with you. about the will and the desire and the attitude towards. And sometimes I believe individuals are unaware that they don't have the will, or you're stuck in a position that you want to get out of, but just the will. And so you started to say why you wrote the book, because that was the next question I had for you. Because as we started talking, and even today, you would have heard about the passing of Patrick Smith, because you would have met him as well at NCU.
Absolutely.
And so the loss of an individual, his family members, the entire staff at NCU would have been grieving at this time, and we experienced loss. But you were just mentioning now why you wrote this book. What's the inspiration behind writing this book? So tell us more about why you decided to take up this task of actually putting these words, penning these lines together. Don't you have a busy enough life, counseling and pastoring and teaching, and why write a book?
Thank you so much for asking this question. It is very important. You know, the real issue is that life can be sweet, but at the same time can be sour. And at some point in life, we are going to be bruised. We are going to be shattered. And that is the real reality of life. However, regardless of how bruised we are, one thing that is important, to move beyond the grief, to move beyond the problems of life, we have got to have the will to pull us from under the rubbles of life in order for us to put ourselves together and move on in this journey. So therefore, guess what? I realize that there are lots of people in this world who are hurting. And of course, as you know the saying, hurting people hurt people, right? So I want to believe that you would agree with me if I say, let's say a husband who has unresolved issues will end up being a husband who is going to hurt his wife. In the same way, a wife who has unresolved issues, who did not get them resolved, guess what? Will hurt not just her husband, but also her children. And the list goes on for co-workers. And that is why the world is in such a mess, unless we have the will to address the bruises in our life. It's going to be almost impossible for us not only to be happy, but to make the world around us happy. That is why I like the song that you began with, and I have quoted it in my book by Louis Armstrong, right?
Yes, yes.
And, that's right. So on that, I said, how can I be of help? Not just to the people around me, but to the whole world. So I decided to write this book, The Will to Heal, so that I can help as many people as possible in the shortest possible time, regardless of where they live on this planet Earth.
And so at the cover of the book has a picture of the brain.
That's right.
And so it starts in the mind, and actually finding that space to find the will to get, because we find ourselves in situation and we know the theory. I read the Bible. I'm a person of faith, and I'll tell you, Pastor, I had a little issue about 2 weeks ago, and all the knowledge that I have of the word and the word, I found myself in an anxious moment. And unable to control that anxiety. And I said to myself, as a matter of fact, I spoke to someone who was not a Christian who said to me, don't you believe in God? you know, don't you believe? I had to be reminded. And so, listeners out there, so many of you find yourself in that situation, that when anxious moments, but I believe in this book, The Will to Heal, you will find powerful tools that will help you to get yourself unstuck, as you put it in your book. An interesting thing that you also pointed out as I read the pages is how our emotional health is connected to our physical health.
That's right. That's right. And that is why I actually, in the cover, when I was actually designing the book, and my publisher asked me, okay, what is it that you really want the cover to look like? And because I already knew the content of my book, because you have read the book, so you know all about it. So I have divided the book into two parts. There are 10 chapters, two parts, right? So the first 5 chapters, I call them steps, deal with the issues of the mind, of the heart, right? With the issues of the heart. And the last 5 steps or chapters, which is the second part, deals with the issues of the mind. Hence, as you recall, based on the, right?
Yes.
Based on the cover page. So when I explained that to my publishing specialist, the way I wanted it, I wanted the connection between the mind and the heart. And then she said, oh, I got it. And then she asked me a very important question. She asked, so what is the real problem? What is the real connection between the mind and the heart? And I said to her, when we have unresolved issues, we are stuck. And as a result of that, we are confused. So until we resolve these emotional issues, we are going to be unable to think properly and to act and to dream big dreams, because God created us to dream big dreams, right? And one of the reasons why we are, boxed is because, right, the heart is sick. And what makes the heart sick? You know what they are? The disappointments, the breakups, right? The unresolved emotional issues, forgiveness or lack thereof, right? Anger. And all these things affect what caused them? Guess what? Quite often from our childhood days, right? And from things that happened on a day-to-day basis at work, in our community, in church, and so forth. And we keep them and we bottle them, and guess what? It becomes explosive, just like, let's say you put, gasoline in a bottle and you cover it and you put it out in the heat over a period of time. Guess what is going to happen? It's going to explode. And that is the real issue. And by actually dealing with the unresolved emotional issues in our lives, we are going to be able to dream big dreams. And we were created for that.
Indeed, we are created for the big dreams. And when your mind is not at peace, I find you end up with hypertension, your diet is affected, you start to eat differently, then you end up with diabetes, you have challenges with your weight, you have challenges with your rest, and before you know it, you're dealing with other major health issues. So if we could find a way, I believe any tool that we can find in our arsenal, anything that that helps us before we reach the point, or even if we have reached that point of sickness or illness, we can be comforted and know that there is help and we can help ourselves. And that is what this book does. So, listeners, if you're just joining us, I want to remind you that we have in studio on this Sensational Sunday, Pastor Emile Maxi is the author of the book, The Will to Heal. And we spend tons and tons of money at the physician seeking healing. But what if we could help ourselves? What if the tools that could benefit our minds, what if we could make one step in the right direction? So, listeners, we're going to pause for a short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about Pastor Emile Maxi's book, The Will to Heal. Wow. we have been speaking, some powerful words, and God has laid it on the heart of Pastor Emile Maxi to not just talk the talk and walk the walk, but he has put together this wonderful book, which I believe it's a tool worth getting your hands on. Because I read it. I'm just not here just saying stuff. And when we started the conversation, we said that, if your life, if you have issues, but question for you, Pastor, don't we all have them? Don't we have relationships that have gone bad, health issues, things? There's no perfect life. The road might look smooth, it looks like it's all beautiful out there, but remember, we have some little hills and valleys that we have to traverse. That's what it's called, life. So don't we all have? So when we speak about grief, it's not just the loss of a loved one, is it?
It is not. In fact, grief can be triggered by the loss of anything that is important to you.
Anything
Right?
that is important to you.
Anything that is important to you.
Could be a friend
And that is what,
or friendship.
pardon?
It could be a friendship.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or for me,
Absolutely.
my ability to run, as I mentioned, that I have lost my passion in running.
Absolutely. That can be a source of grief for you. But the problem is that the real issue here is not so much the grief, but also for you to be able to know that you are grieving and you need help.
Wow. To know that you're grieving and you need help. Listeners, you can't do it by yourself. That's why Flashpoint Radio, that's why we are here in the studios every day. It's not because we are just here when we like to do lip service. We want to help someone. We want to send out some positive vibes. We are bombarded every day. I don't know about you in your neck of the woods, because you're in Canada and it's nice and it's beautiful and you don't have any of the issues that are happening anywhere else in the world. It's like awesome there and it's just wonderful. But for others of us, it's not all perfect and peachy. We have issues, and especially in the last couple of years, some persons have lost actual loved ones. We have lost jobs. We have lost positions. Even with the what is AI, persons are losing their jobs and so forth. And you have to adjust to this new life. We have made so many adjustments, and as you said, if we can recognize that, yeah, these are losses, and isn't it okay to lose stuff and know that life is dynamic, right, Pastor? It happens.
Absolutely. In fact, when you look at the definition of grief on its own, it is the normal and natural reaction to loss of any kind. So therefore, the question that I ask, and of course you would see that in my book also, is who then is exempt from grieving? Nobody. So at some point in time, all of us will go through the period of grief, right? But what is the difference between somebody who, let's say, loses it all, right? And for some reason, what happens? They decide to go into depression, or they take their lives, right? Or as opposed to somebody who has lost it all, but yet they make it.
Yes, it's amazing.
So what is the issue? What is the difference? It all boils down to number one, the will, right? The desire to make it even when everything, right, is falling apart in our lives. And number two, the attitude to allow us to soar to higher heights, right? Even against the odds of life.
Amazing. So we're going to take a short commercial break, listeners. I know you are getting all warmed up, and we're going to play a nice song for you this afternoon on this Sensational Sunday. So stay tuned, listen in, tell a friend to tell a friend that you're on Flashpoint Radio live on this Sensational Sunday.
Father, carry me. never seen before. When I come to the end of myself, Father carry me, Father carry me. When I come to the end of myself, Father carry me, Father carry me. I know my help comes from the Lord, one who made heaven and earth. You're mighty, yes, you're stronger than any other. Yeah. One thing that I desire of you, that I may dwell here with you forever and ever. I'm chasing no other. Hey.
Oh, so Kevin Downswell and Romain Virgo did that awesome song, Pastor. It says, when I've come to the end of myself, Father, carry me. Father, carry me. And it speaks to the place of faith in your journey in life. Because what we're talking about today, listeners, are real life experiences. It's not just theoretical stuff that you hear about out there that people don't deal with. It's about life and living. It's about what we deal with every day. You lose a job, you lose a friend, you lose a career, you lose so many things in life, and we already know that there's nothing promised to us. But when the loss comes, it's just it's something to think about, listeners. When you have lost everything, what do you do? So Romain Virgo and Kevin Downswell reminded us in that song, when I've come to the end of myself, Father, carry me. So if you're out there, listeners, and you're listening to this program this afternoon, the tools that are presented here, the cover of the book does says it's a self-help guide, and Pastor Maxi will, and as he mentioned, with his years of experience in counseling, he can't counsel every single person in the world. But what can I do? Right? The pharmaceutical companies, they design vaccines, they design tablets, they design injections, they design, and all of those things that we have to take, they have side effects. What if you can help yourself? What if you can find the tools that you need to journey in life? What if you can get the help you need for your health? Not just your mental health, because your mental health is connected to your physical health. So you were in the process of expounding, but as I thought about there's another statement that I found in your book that I said, forgiveness, a gift you give to yourself? Really? I like gifts, I usually like getting it from others. I don't know about giving myself a gift. But what is the thinking behind that statement? Forgiveness, because listen, there are some things that people do to you sometimes, I tell you, they say things. There's a statement: sticks and stones cannot break my bone. They do worse than breaking your bone. It breaks your vision, your inspiration, and before you know it, you find yourself locked in your house and said, I don't even want to talk to people because people are stressed. And now you're saying to me, forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. How? How do you give yourself this gift?
To answer your question, I'm going to make mention of two persons that most of us we know, right? The first one is Nelson Mandela, right?
Yes.
Nelson Mandela, when he was released from prison, after spending 29 years in jail, and the journalists asked Mr. Mandela, why is it that you have chosen to forgive those who sent you to jail for all these years? And he answered by saying, why shouldn't I? And he said, if I had not forgiven them, although I would be released out of jail, but I would still be in jail, right? And this is very important because most of the times, what actually happens is that we choose not to forgive, which ends up being an unresolved emotional issue that actually haunts us and creating all the physical havocs in our lives because we believe that the lack of forgiveness is the only thing that we have to punish the person who inflicted
Of course.
the issue, right?
I'm not talking to them. I will not speak to them. Why?
Yes. In reality, when you choose not to forgive, the only person who pays the penalty is you.
Yes.
Because the person is free, the person is gone. The person does not even, care anymore as to sometimes they even forgot. But you hold on to that forgiveness and you are paying for it. And guess what happens? You alluded to the fact there are times people go to the doctor for high blood pressure, for instance. And of course, the doctor prescribes medication and it doesn't help. Because guess what? The real issue of their problem is not physical, it is emotional. Until they actually resolve the unresolved issues of their heart, they will always be sick. The other person that I had said that I would mention is Mahatma Gandhi, right? Who actually led an entire revolution in India without, lifting a hand. And one day, some journalists were interviewing him and they said, well, Mr. Gandhi, the Bible says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Why don't you choose to ask your followers to pay back, right? The British soldiers. And he answered by saying, an eye for an eye only leaves the world blind. Right? And I only wish that even some of us who are people of faith could actually take a page from Mahatma Gandhi's book. So, if you want to address the unresolved issues of your life, the very first thing that I would actually encourage you to address would be relieving your heart of all the hatred, all the lack of forgiveness, all the aggression, all the negative and unkind words.
Are you saying, Pastor,
right?
after my husband did this thing, we've been together for 20, 30 years, and out of the marriage, he decides to now find a younger wife with children and go behind my back, put my life at risk. You're asking me to forgive him? after my friend go ahead and tell a lie on me, you're asking me to forgive them? This is all so theoretically sounding good. Is that what you're saying to the listeners today?
That's right. That's right. Because that is the gift you are giving to yourself. Because as long as you choose not to forgive, they are not the ones paying the penalty. You are paying the price.
I believe you. I believe you. Because then and then, when you hold these things, I think sometimes it gives you a sense of, um, you feel that you're doing the right thing. You're holding on to this because I believe that, this is how I show that I am in charge of the situation. Therefore, I am not forgiving you. I'm not letting you. But then it creates this sense of bitterness. And,
That's right.
and I'm telling you, listeners, it goes back to your physical health. So you spend all this time going to the physician for them to give you medication. You can't sleep. All right? You go to a sleep therapist. You go to a sleep therapist, and if your mind could be at ease, if you could just let go of some of the baggage, some of the unforgiveness. Listeners, we are speaking to Pastor Emile Maxi, and he has written a book. The book is called The Will to Heal. The Will to Heal. And so I ask you another question about writing. How long did it take you to get this book written and published?
About 8 months.
Oh, wow. It's almost as if it was birth.
That's right.
Gestational period. But,
That's right.
but it took 31 years of planting these seeds into your mind, these
Right.
pearls of wisdom. And this experience that you had with your counseling now told you, said to your subconscious that people need help.
Yes. And the reality of it is that unless you're prepared to do the work, you could pray from now till the kingdom comes. Nothing will happen.
Our faith without works is dead.
That's right. Because God will not do for you what he has already done in you.
But I believe sometimes when we pray, we have the theoretical knowledge. So we will say, dear Father, this, we have an itemized list and we go and that's it. And we get up the same way. I do it. I mean, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. This is what I've been taught as a Christian, spending time praying, and then you go. But sometimes you don't leave. A lot of the times, we just do it as a formality, and we hope. I'm not sure if we are hoping that God hears, or we're just assuming that we're just doing the right thing. But to get to the next level, if we should implement, and I noticed on the front of the book, I think it says a self-help. What does it say?
Yes. It is an emotional self-care guide.
Emotional self-care guide. I don't know if you're at your neck of the woods, you hear persons talking about self-care. It's a big thing now. So you spend time to do your nails, you spend time to get a massage done and to get your hair done, and probably a facial or a pedicure and stuff. Self-care. But this is an important part of self-care as well.
Right. That's right. In fact, just as we pay attention, right, to the external, taking care of ourselves, the hairdo, the nails, and stuff like that, right? We have got to pay more attention to the inside, right? Why? Because unless we do it, no one will do it for us.
Yes, and
And
it
that
will
is
help with
why,
it will help with the external as well.
absolutely. And unless you take care of yourself, and those are the emotional issues, and those are the hurts, those are the jealousies, those are the regrets, those are the abuses, right? Unless you take care of yourself, guess what? You are going to be messed up. So there are three components that we need to look at. And quite often we fail to: the past, the present, and the future. It is as simple as that. But it is not simple.
The past.
The past, the present, and the future.
Ah.
So the present is made in the lab of the past.
Say that again. Say that
The
one
present,
again.
yes, the present is made in the lab of the past.
The present is made in the lab of the past.
That's
Profound.
right. So, in other words, what we are experiencing today is as a result of what we did or did not do in the past. Right? So, therefore, if we want to have a brighter future, we have got to look at where we are right now.
But we can't fix the past.
That you cannot fix the past, but you can learn from the past. In fact, one of the things that you're going to also discover is the fact that we learn far more from the past mistakes than we learn from our successes.
We learn from the mistakes more, eh?
Yes, we learn far more from our mistakes. In fact, we gain wisdom from our mistakes.
So you're saying, and I believe that's a profound statement, when we are experiencing our mistakes, when we are experiencing our trials, and we would have said, I made the wrong decision, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that, I end up in this situation because of that situation. Listeners, use them as building blocks.
That's right.
Use them as the building. I heard one of the hosts on Flashpoint Radio. He would say that, the more they throw the dirt on me, just like the plant, I grow. I need the soil. I need the soil to push through. So you find yourself when you're going through the situations and you get bogged down. I've had regrets. I've thought about things that if I had done this differently, my life would have been different. Things would, and then you dwell on those moments when you wonder, what if I had done this and not that? But embrace it.
That's right. That's right. And let's say as an example, somebody who is coming out of a relationship, right, who did not learn from that past abusive relationship, more than likely will make more mistakes.
Wow.
Right? So on that basis, the past must help us understand where we are coming from, and therefore not to go back to where we're coming from, so that we can create a better future.
Yes. Right? Yes.
So as a result of that, when we look at the past hurts, the first question we should ask ourselves is, why did I get hurt? Okay? Why did I get hurt? What part did I have to play in me getting hurt? And the third question is, in order for me to heal myself, I have got to take at least 1% responsibility as to how I allow it to affect me.
Take 1% responsibility how it will affect me. Okay, we are going to go for a short break at this moment. And listeners, I want you to take the opportunity to share the link. We have much more tools that you will need to make your journey in this life a little bit better. Okay, so stay tuned to Flashpoint Radio.
Sometimes late at night, I lie awake and watch her sleeping. She's lost in peaceful dreams, so I turn out the light and lay there in the dark. And the thought crosses my mind: if I never wake in the morning, would she ever doubt the way I feel about her in my heart? If tomorrow never comes, would you know how much I love her? Did I try in every way to show her every day? She's my only one. Hey, if my time and hurt were through, and she must face this world without me. If the love I gave her in the past is gonna be enough to last, if tomorrow never comes, 'cause I've lost loved ones in my life who never knew how much I loved them. Now I live with the regret, but my true feeling for them never will reveal. So I made a promise to myself to say each day how much she means to me, and avoid that circumstance where there's no second chance to tell her how I feel. If tomorrow never comes, would you know how much I love her? Did I try in every way to show her every day that she's my only one? Hey, and if my time and hurt were through, and she must face this world without me. Ooh, if the love I gave her in the past is gonna be enough to last, if tomorrow never comes, tell me so.
You are listening to Sensational Sunday with your girl Elise live on Flashpoint Radio, and we're joined by author Pastor Emile Maxi as he discusses his book, The Will to Heal. Now, we were just speaking about the future. You don't need a horoscope. You don't need to go to the palm readers or who else they have out there? Persons who claim that they can, tell you some interesting thing about your future. You were about telling us, Pastor, that despite your past, right? The past is the lab for the present, right? That's what you said. But if we can fix a few things, we can secure a better future.
For
Am I
sure.
correct?
For sure. And to do that, you have got to know where you are, just like the GPS, right?
Yes, yes,
So I believe that it doesn't matter where you are in the world today. At some point in time, you had to use the GPS to get somewhere.
right.
And even when you don't put your location on the GPS, but the internal intelligence of the GPS knows and recognizes your location. So unless the internal intelligence of the GPS picks up your location, it cannot take you anywhere. Okay. So therefore, in order for you, and that is the other section of the book, the first part deals with the issues of the heart. So once you are able to get all these things addressed, right? Then your mind becomes clearer to be able to dream those big dreams. And that is, okay, this is where I am. What do I need to get to where I want to be? And who can help me get there? And what do I need to do to get there? And these are key questions that you need to ask yourselves, because we live in a world today that everything is at the palm of our hands.
That's
Right?
right.
You don't even have to pay a lot of money to go and, let's say, for instance, hire this and hire that to help you. So you can actually, there are so many books out there, great books. Or you can actually go on YouTube, and you will find that there are so many people out there who are interested in your well-being for you to be who you really need to be, so that you do not have to allow the past to define you. Where you're coming from has nothing to do and to be in terms of where you will be. It all boils down to
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what about when you think about your life being, when you compare to others, and you find that, okay, you have been trying, but it seems as if your journey just seems a little bit harder, and you wonder, you question, is it something that I possibly have done wrong? And so my life is just, I mean, I went to college 4 years, and yet now I'm struggling, I'm jobless. I can hardly find the funds I need to survive. So when you consider those things, but as you said, knowing where you are, that GPS, and sometimes it's hard to actually get the guts that you need to just look face on what is happening. This is what is happening in my life now. And now what do I do to get out of this situation? And so it's sometimes the questions are tough and the answers are equally as tough. But
right.
if we face them, which is what you are encouraging us to do, then it's better. And you also mentioned, as you said, there are people, there are resources there, including your book to help. But you also mentioned in your book that you have persons in your life just like a relay. The anchor ones, the ones that you're going to leave behind, the one that goes with you as you pass the baton on. So there are persons in your life that will help you, and you are proving to be an anchor by having this book out there. So listeners, the book is called The Will to Heal. Do you have the will? That is important. You need this will to heal. And it's not just for your mind. Your mind is connected to your body. It does not exist in isolation. We would love to think, okay, but it's all connected. Your mind affects so many things. Your vision can go, your skin, everything. Just believe me, I know. Yes. So you were about to tell us about the second part of your book.
Well, the second part is a life coach.
Ah,
Yes. You know, the first part is about grief recovery. Okay. And that is to help you, put the past in the past, addressing them. Because quite often we tend to run away from our problems. But if we do run away from our problems, we'll be running for the rest of our lives. Right?
you get tired after a while.
Because the problems will always be there.
Exactly.
Once you resolve one, another one will surface right after, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
therefore, there is no need for you to run away from your problems. You have got to actually develop the mental fortitude to deal with every single one of them as they come.
Yes, and I noticed in your book you actually had like worksheets that you would write down. I remember in one chapter you had a column there. You would write where you are now and where you want to be. So,
That's right.
listeners, we are not just saying that, okay, you must just go out there and this thing is just some figment of your imagination and just have it takes some hard work, and you put your pen to paper, you write down these things that you know
That's
where
right.
you are, just like you, as
That's
you
right.
said, the GPS, and you know where you're going, or else you're
That's
going to
right.
be driving around in a circle, never ending, getting nowhere.
That's right. That's right. You know, as I was talking about the second part, and we have got to evaluate the issues of the mind. And that's the first step, And so the last part deals with the evaluation of the issues of the mind and positioning yourself for success, right? Guess what? If you have that mindset to succeed, you will succeed. But the fact that you will succeed does not mean that the path will always be clear, right?
You spoke about detours, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, right? And then the next step is allowing your dream to be the wind beneath your wings,
Ah.
right? And so these are the things that, I'm just about to complete my second book, right?
Ah, wow. You're on a roll.
Oh yes, because I realized that quite often we have these big dreams, and that is step number 9 now, passing into action. We keep on dreaming until they become fantasy.
Right. Because you don't do anything about them.
We don't do anything about it, right? And then we look at reaping the benefits of your action, right? So actually, the last part, which is part number 2, the last of 5 chapters, we look at the life coach. And guess what? I believe that life has been challenging. Of course, if you read the book by Dr. Peck, The Road Less Traveled, and he says life is difficult. And believe you me, it will always be difficult. But what will make the difference? Our attitude will make the difference.
Ah, attitude.
Our attitude will make the difference. So therefore, in order for us to be able to accomplish those big dreams, and I call them God-sized dreams. In other words, you have such big dreams unless God himself shows up, they cannot be realized. But guess what? Just praying about these dreams will not make them happen. Right? What will make them happen is that you dream those big dreams, you believe in your dreams, and you act on your dreams.
Amen.
Right?
Yes.
And to me, that is the thing that will change your modus operandi. And with that, I can tell you that when I look at my life today and I look back where I'm coming from, I've said to myself, I can only be where I am now because not just what God has done for me, but because I realized that everything that I needed, God had already done it. it is just for me to just reach out for it and act on it.
You seem to have had an easy life. You seem to have had a much easier life than the rest of us. It was so it was paved and that wide road with no issues.
I am actually waiting to finish my second book. And when you read my second book, and you're going to realize that I have such a rough life. I had such a rough life. And then when you read my second book, you are going to ask yourself, how in the world could he get to where he is today? Let alone to write a book or two. And I'm going to be writing until God says it's time to rest.
Oh, wonderful. Because, it's one thing to have overcome trials. It's another thing to reach a hand to help someone else. And that's what this book is about. You can't reach every single individual, but the pages of your book can go worldwide. Do you have it in French as well, since you're fluent in French, or you're working on that?
Not yet. That is to come.
So, listeners out there, this book is available. I got the audiobook, and it was a 3 hour, just over 3 hour listen, and
That's
it
right.
was worth it. I'm going to listen and listen and listen. I have gone ahead, and some of my God-sized dreams, I've written them down. Listen, do not confine God to any box. Guys, I don't know why we are just barely going and crawling and scraping the bottom of things. Why? Why? But we have been programmed by so many factors in life and negative things around us. You can't do this, you can't do that. I'll tell you, Flashpoint Radio was born from the cans to what it is today. So, and it's spreading a mission and a vibe that if we can do it here in the Grand K, if we can do it in our little speck in this vast world, what about you? Do you have a dream? Do you have a dream? Don't put it in that box and bury it under your bed and the things that. And I noticed too, which I found quite inspirational about your book, each chapter had an original quotation
Yes.
from past, and I love that. I love the fact that you were able to just coin these words of wisdom and inspiration for your readers. And I'm sure each person that would get their hands and their eyes and their ears on this book would feel the same way I feel about it, because there are so many things that beset us in life, and the hurt and the grief and the pain. Yes, it's all part and parcel of life. But we started this program and we played a song. The song we played by Louis Armstrong said, "It's a wonderful world." And I'm sure you and I, Pastor, believe that it is still a wonderful world.
It is still
Yes, it is still a wonderful world. So I'll ask you about this quote. You said happiness is a number one priority.
Yes. In fact, you're looking for the quote, right?
Yes.
And I say, true happiness is an inside job. It is cultivated on the soil of self-worth and flourishes
Oh, yes,
in
I
an
have
environment
it.
of mutual respect and affection.
True happiness is an inside job cultivated in the soil of self-worth. It flourishes in an environment of respect and mutual affection. True happiness inside. Work on it. I mean, is it out there? It's dependent on our spouse, on the children, on the. Are you saying I could lose everything, everything, everything? My nice job, a much paying job, the best clothes, my family, and still be happy. And my car, my Mercedes Benz, my Tesla. Are you saying I can be happy?
You can be happy. You can be happy. In fact,
In what world?
that's the world that you create. So everything around me can be chaotic, but I still can be happy. So I was actually saying to somebody the other day, happiness, and inner peace. And in fact, let me say this, inner peace is not the absence of chaos, but the ability to be able to create happiness in spite of it.
I want to hear that one again. Our listeners need to hear that one again. Yes.
I hope I can remember it, right? So happiness is not the absence of chaos, but the ability to create it in spite of all that's happening around you.
Wow.
If you are not happy as a person, no one can make you happy.
No one.
No one can make you happy. Your spouse, your friends, your family members can contribute to your happiness, but they cannot make you happy. Only you can make yourself happy. In fact, the only way you can make yourself happy is by taking care of yourself. Not just external.
Not just external. Not just the nails and the skin and the clothes.
Right.
No, the mind.
That's right. That's right. Therefore, the question that I need to ask myself is, what do I need to do in order to create that sense of happiness? Right? It starts with that. So when I do grief recovery with people, when I do life coach with people, even pre and post marital counseling with people, they ask me, what can I do? I said, it starts with you. I have often said, God has given us the Cadillac, and the key to the Cadillac, we cannot expect him to drive the Cadillac for us.
We have the keys, but we don't expect him to drive.
That's right.
And you're saying that we are to leave the negative thoughts, leave the procrastination, leave the emotional baggage, and get in that Cadillac and drive.
Yes. That's right.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I am just so excited about this book. And I want, before we go this afternoon, I want you to tell the listeners how. I gave them a hint that on Amazon I was able to access it. Not only is it in the written pages, listeners, you have your audiobook. It's worth every single penny and beyond. We spend so much money on other things. Self-care is beyond the external things. It's so beyond your hair, your skin, your clothes. Self-care is that mind that God has given to you, that when the trials come around you, when the storms of life beset you, and you have nowhere to turn, and your foundation is shifted right underneath your feet, you're still grounded. How do you stay grounded? Self-care is caring that mind that when this happens, because life is not perfect, we have hills and valleys and mountains to climb, listeners. But if we should just care for ourselves the way God ordained it, we would have done a great justice to ourselves. So, listeners need to know how they can help themselves. So, your book, how can they get, no matter where they're listening from today, you have access to this. So, Pastor, tell them how they can get your book.
Good question. As I said earlier, I wanted to help as many people as possible in the shortest possible time, regardless of where they are in this world, so that I can change the world one person at a time. So I went all out to ensure that my book is available on, of course, the printed page, Kindle, ebook, and audio. So that whichever you prefer, if you have a Kindle, you prefer the Kindle version, you can actually go and download it right away. If you prefer, to flip your pages as you read your book, so you can get it wherever on Amazon or at your bookstore. If they don't have it, you can ask them to order it for you. Or audio. Some people, because they don't have the time and they have to commute, so they prefer to listen. And that makes it an easy way for you to be able to get yourselves unstuck.
Get yourself unstuck.
And shall I add? I put both grief recovery and life coach together in this book. So if you were to actually go and see a grief recovery specialist, because not all grief recovery specialists are also life coaches. But because I do both, I'm certified in both, so I put both together in the palm of your hands. Because if you were to go and get the services of a life coach or a grief recovery specialist, you're looking at spending quite a few thousands right? But by having this book at the cost, whatever it costs you wherever you are, $25 or $16, $17, I don't know, wherever you are, because it's all over the world, right? You are going to be blessed as a result of going through the content of this book. And the person who is going to reap the benefit will be you.
Amen. I have been benefiting from this book, and I plan to share it with other members of my family. I have spoken about it, I have told friends about it, and I'm excited. I'm excited because it is a book that's beneficial to you no matter your age, no matter your stage. Once you are alive, this book will be beneficial. As I said earlier, if you needed tools in your arsenal, if you are traveling, if you need a GPS, if you need anything that you need, you prepare. You prepare for your journey. You get as much help as you need. And believe me, listeners, help. You find help within the pages of this book. The book is called The Will to Heal. And we are so connected in the virtual space. Search for it online. It's there on Amazon, Kindle version, audio book. The pages you can turn. The Will to Heal. We can be healed. Life journey takes us places far beyond what we could ever think or imagine. But if we are grounded in the Word of God, of course, and we also feed our mind positively, then I know we can go places. So I want to thank you, Pastor Emile Maxi, for being our guest right here on Flashpoint Radio. We are all the better for it, and believe me, I've been inspired by your book, and I am waiting in anticipation for book number 2.
That's right.
and I know, listeners, I know it will be worth the wait, right? It is worth the wait, and I'm sure that we will benefit greatly from your book. So thank you for joining us all the way from Canada.
Pleasure.
It's
Thanks for
good
having me.
having you right here in the sunny Grand Cayman Islands. It's awesome to have you here virtually. And we're looking forward to hearing more wonderful things from you. And so we are happy to have you on this Sensational Sunday. So whether you're listening here in the Grand Cay, in Jamaica, in Canada, wherever, and Pastor, we have listeners in Australia. We had a guest from Australia a few weeks ago as well. And I noticed you said you had pastored in New Zealand as well. I had the privilege of visiting there about 2 years ago. I just love that place. Um, so thank you so much again, and give our regards to your family members who have allowed you to spend all of this time with us. And we are looking forward for more bigger and better things. Thank you for joining us on Flashpoint Radio.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Bye-bye for now.
Oh Lord, yeah. There will be mountains that I will have to climb, and there will be battles that I will have to fight. But victory or defeat, it's up to me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I never try? I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. Oh Lord, yeah. There will be mountains that I will have to climb, and there will be battles that I will have to fight. But victory or defeat, it's up to me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I never try? I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. Never said there wouldn't be trials. Never said I wouldn't fall. Never said that everything would go the way I wanted to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel all hope is gone, I'll just lift my head up to the sky and say, help me to be strong. Oh, I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Oh, nobody told me the road don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. So this is your girl Elise live here on Flashpoint Radio, reminding you that a dream without action is only a fantasy. Allow your dream to be the wind beneath your wings so as you step out into this week. Remember, God has a plan for your life. When the trials come to overwhelm you, stay focused. Get a copy of that book, The Will to Heal. And this is your girl Elise saying, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Well, I know I am back. So I have a special request out here from Ian all the way in Atlanta, and this song, it's such a suitable song. It's done by Chronix. He says, you don't know what I feel inside. Only you know things I'm going through in life, but only you know. So Chronix, you see me smile, but inside I'm tearing up.
They don't know, and I said they don't know. Oh boy, they see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside.
In the mix. Back to back, beat to beat. Come on, DJ. Hit me with another track.
They don't know, and I said they don't know. Oh boy, they see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. Only you know, yeah. Only you know. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. They see the dancing, them see the performance. Enough people see me life and want one, but them no know say more time it look dormant. And them no see say I'm me belly me a crawl pan. Cause my mama just called me with tears in her eyes. She never know me have a stage show tonight. Not even she see the fears in my eyes, but me just a go and put on the show. Cause they don't know, yeah. They don't know, oh, oh. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. Only you know, only I know, Jah. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. Yes, in at the boiling sun, putting it on the street. Righteous music, me putting it on the beat, but nothing no righteous about how life set. If you no know hard life, then you no know life yet. Because my papa just call me poverty, make him a screw. Him never know, say me have a interview, but me still have to put on the show because they don't know. I said they don't know, yeah. They don't know. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. Only you know, chronics. Only you know, oh yeah, yeah. They see you smile, boy, but they don't know what you feel inside. Yes, I. So long me make me ball, long me make me cry, cause they don't know what I feel inside. Long me make me ball. Leave me what I feel. Yes I, yes I, yes I. But and I say, love me make me ball, love me make me cry, cause only I know, yes, Jah, yes. Only I know. Them say, Canix come on the stage, how and done it. Him and him bandsman friend, them bunny. But them never know, say I one shirt. Me have to wash it and me have to sun it. Them say me take the stage up. Them say me lyrics, them a flow. But them never know, say we have to work hard in a 6 feet of snow. They don't know. They don't know. They see me smile, but they don't know what I feel inside. They don't see it, son. Only you know. Yes, what? Only you know. Ooh, they see you smile. They see you smile. Yes, sir.
They don't know what I feel inside, you know. There are times when you just have to put the best outside. You're struggling, really struggling, but you just have to just wear that smile. Only God knows what's happening on the inside. And no, this is one of my favorite songs, and from one of my favorite artists, the lady Tessan Chin. This rendition of Bridge Over Troubled Waters is just saying to us that there are moments in life, as we mentioned earlier, that we need a helping hand, someone to just help with us in this relay, this journey, someone to help us anchor us down. And so she tells us, be a bridge, be that bridge to someone over troubled waters.
When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I will take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way, and see how they shine. Oh, when you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your
I hope this afternoon that Flashpoint Radio and the team here, that we are being that bridge over your troubled waters. We pause as we head out of studio to say to those who are grieving, those who have lost loved ones, we speak specifically of the loss of Patrick George Smith, former Associate Vice President for University Relations and former Director of Corporate Communication, Marketing and Public Relations at NCU, Northern Caribbean University. For those who are in shock and in loss over the passing of family members and friends, I want to say to you, amidst the loss, we cling to that blessed hope. So, I want to play this song for you, done by one of my favorite singers as well. And he reminds us that there's going to be a time when there's going to be no more night, no more pain, no more suffering, no more death. So, until we speak again next week, Sunday, this is your girl signing off. Sensational Sunday on Flashpoint Radio. And we are looking forward to seeing you and hearing from you soon. And remember to share the link. Tell a friend, as Pastor Marquino O'Fern would say. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And also, I would like to say good afternoon to all the members of the team. Mikey G, our producer, Connie J.E. from just before you got your bed on Tuesday. The man called Bruce and Abby from Sports Beat. And of course, Pastor Marquino Ferron with the open portal from the team here at Flashpoint Radio. And our dear children, here are we, Auntie Lisa. The team here at Flashpoint Radio. We want to say, have yourself a wonderful, sensational Sunday. Your girl Elise says, ta-ta for now.
The timeless theme, earth and heaven will pass away. It's not a dream. God will make all things new that day. Gone is the curse from which I stumbled and fell. Evil is banished to eternal hell. No more night, no more pain, no more tears, never crying again, and praises to the great I am. We will live in the light of the risen Lamb. See all around now the great I am. We will live in the light of the risen Lamb. See, over there, there's a mansion, oh, that's prepared just for me, where I will live with my Savior eternally.
Sensational Sundays with your girl Elise on Flashpoint Radio. Come, let's talk, let's hang, let's just jam on Sunday, 3 p.m. Flashpoint Radio.